Okay, so what if you failed at your job? I mean, failed so badly that it cost your company hundreds of millions of dollars, but you still walked away a millionaire? Well, that's pretty much the story of Qantas, Australia's national airline, and its former CEO, Alan Joyce. It is a wild story of record profits, shocking fines, and a question that just about everyone is asking. How on earth was this allowed to happen? Let's just jump right into the numbers, because honestly, they tell a jaw-dropping story. On one hand, you have Alan Joyce's total career earnings, estimated at a staggering $125 million. And on the other hand, the company he led is now on the hook for over $300 million in penalties and compensation. This massive, massive gap between the CEO's reward and the company's punishment, well, that's the very heart of the public outrage. Now, to really understand the scale of this fallout, you first have to appreciate what Qantas once meant to people. You see, it wasn't just another airline. For many, it was a core part of Australia's national identity. I mean, since its humble beginnings, way back in 1920, Qantas grew to become this trusted symbol of home for millions of Australians. For decades, it really earned its reputation as the spirit of Australia, a classic tale of Aussie ingenuity. But that trust, it has been profoundly broken.
The shift in public perception has been absolutely brutal. One report captured it perfectly, describing the airline not as a symbol of pride, but as, and I'm quoting here, a haunting specter of its former glory. Wow, that just shows you how far the brand has fallen in the public's eyes.
So, how did it all go so wrong?
Well, the decline wasn't because of one single event. Nope, it was a series of major scandals that all unfolded under Joyce's leadership. Let's break them down.
First up, you've got the ghost flight scandal. Imagine this. You buy a ticket, you're all set to go, only to find out the flight never even existed. Qantas was caught selling seats on thousands of flights it had already canceled. Naturally, Australia's competition watchdog, the ACCC, got involved, and that little bit of deception ended up costing the company a cool $100 million. Next, the airline turned on its own people. In 2020, nearly 2,000 baggage handlers and ground crew were fired. The move was so bad that Australia's federal court had to step in and declare it illegal. Just a damning verdict in what was already a long, troubled history of clashing with its unions. So you have to ask, how could these huge problems just fester for so long? Well, an independent report paints a pretty clear picture of a toxic internal culture. It described a command and control leadership style from a dominant CEO, which created a culture where employees were just plain afraid to speak up. And of course, when no one can raise the alarm, you've got a perfect storm for things to go badly, badly wrong. And these scandals weren't just headlines. They had very real and very costly consequences for the airline. We're talking hits to both its bank account and its global standing. The consequences of these actions took years to actually play out. The illegal sackings, they happened back in 2020. It wasn't until 2023, with scandals piling up, that Joyce finally stepped down. But the real financial pain didn't hit until 2025, when the courts handed down a record-setting fine for those very sackings. So when you add it all up, the financial fallout reached a staggering $310 million. That's $120 million to compensate the staff who were illegally fired, another $100 million for the ghost flights mess, and a final $90 million fine from the court. That is a massive, massive price to pay for mismanagement. You'd think they could at least get the apology right, but no. Even the company's attempts to say sorry completely failed to land. When the new CEO tried to make amends, a federal court judge just shut it down, calling it the wrong kind of sorry. The implication was crystal clear. Qantas wasn't sorry for what it did, just sorry it got caught.
And the damage wasn't just financial, right? It was reputational. In the prestigious World Airline Awards, Qantas plummeted 7 spots. Its budget carrier, Jetstar, fell too. It's a clear signal that the rest of the world was really starting to notice the decline in quality and trust.
So all of this leaves the new leadership with an absolutely enormous challenge. Can the flying kangaroo ever regain the trust it lost, especially while the legacy of its former CEO looms so large over everything? And that road ahead, it's already proving to be tough. The company just reported a 28% fall in profits. This has actually forced the new CEO, Vanessa Hudson, and her team to take pay cuts. A pretty stark contrast to the Joyce era, wouldn't you say? And this all comes back to that central paradox, which is perfectly captured by the term golden handshake. It's when an executive gets a massive payout on their way out the door, even after their time in charge was marked by failure. And Alan Joyce's handshake?
Yeah, an estimated career total of $125 million.
And incredibly, the payments haven't even stopped. Believe it or not, the company's own annual report shows Joyce is set to receive an extra $3.4 million just for his last 2 months of work. And on top of that, he's still eligible for another potential $2.4 million in bonuses all the way until 2026.
And so we're left with the one question that's really at the heart of this entire controversy. It's a question that customers, employees, and the public are still grappling with. Can a brand truly, seriously recover while the very leader who presided over its downfall continues the cash in?